Hi everyone! Welcome to the Jayda InStitches show. We've got a sweet little heart pattern for you today that has multiple applications. It's about 5.5 inches wide or 14 centimeters by 4 inches or 10 centimeters tall, so inside point to outside point. And if you make it in cotton, it's a perfect little coaster size. So a handful of these around your house make a nice little useful coaster. They're a sweet bit of decor and they don't take up much space when you want to tuck them away for next year. But you can also use this pattern and just turn it into an applique. So whatever project you might be working on, let's say it's a blanket or a bag, maybe a pillow, just use the same yarn and the same hook you're using for that project and poof, you've got yourself a nice shaped heart applique. Sometimes hearts can be a bit tricky to keep even. You've got two sort of oddly shaped rounded edges, you've got angles in there. So today we are going to do an actual crochet along. We're going to show you every single stitch of each of the rows that make up this heart project, so nobody gets left behind. And don't forget, you can always pause the video, and you can also slow the video down if you feel like you want to work in real time, but just a little bit slower. So let's grab our hooks, grab our yarn, we'll head on over to the craft table and we'll stitch up some hearts together. Each heart does not take up very much yarn. You're only going to need around 15 yards or 7 grams of the heart color and around 10 yards or 5 grams of your border color, and that's per heart. You can use cotton, acrylic, wool, any fiber you want depending on the project you want to use your little hearts for. I'm using a size 4 medium weight acrylic yarn today, but a DK weight or an Aran weight works just fine too. You're going to want a pair of scissors, a yarn needle, and the hook I'm using is a 5.5 millimeter, also known as an I or a 9 in the US, a size 5 in the UK. And if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, take a moment to click that button and the bell so you never miss another episode. And once you've got all your supplies together, we can get started. We're going to begin with a slip knot. So we're starting with our heart color. We're working our heart from the middle out. We're going to chain 13 to begin. Once you have 13 chains, we're going to count 3 back from the hook. So find the third chain back from your hook, and we're going to work 2 double crochet into that third chain. So 2 double crochet into the third chain from the hook. That little chain 2 that's left over is going to act as a double crochet, but you don't have to worry about that until we get all the way back round to it. We're going to double crochet into each of the next 3 chains. So just double crochet once into each of the next 3 chains. Now we're going to double crochet 3 together over the next 3 chains. So we've just worked this one. You're going to identify the next 3 chains. We're going to work a double crochet 3 stitches together. So we start like we're going to do a regular double crochet in the first chain, yarn over, back through the first 2 loops, start another double crochet in the next chain, yarn over, pull back through the first 2 loops, and start another double crochet in the third chain, yarn over, pull back through 2 loops. You should have 4 loops left on your hook, so you can see there's the loop that we would have normally in our little working loop, and there's the 3 that are attached to those half-finished double crochets worked across 3 chains. We're going to yarn over and pull back through everything. Ta-da! And now you've got a 3 double crochet stitches together, so it causes a nice little sort of inverted triangle, or actually a proper triangle. There's the little point, there's the bottom. Moving on, we're going to double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. And that brings us up to our last chain. So this one here, we're going to work 3 double crochet into that chain. And you'll see that I'm kind of holding my work at the bottom because that will help not pull out the last chain too much. 3 double crochet right underneath that starting knot that we made. So you should have something that looks like this now. You've got our start, our double crochet 3 together in the center, kind of creates a little bit of a V shape. And then the last place, we work 3 double crochet into that last chain. And now we're going to flip our work over and we're going to work up the underside of that foundation chain row all the way to the back. So I'm going to work over my short tail. If you find that complicating, don't worry, you can just leave it out and weave it in afterwards. But I want to draw attention to this hole right here. That's where we just worked our 3 double crochets, so you want to make sure you skip over that. And you're going to go for the next one. So we're going to double crochet into the underside of each of the next 4 chains. All right, and that should bring you up to the bottom. So there's our 3 double crochet together, and that right at the bottom, that middle stitch, that is where we're going to work 3 double crochet. So we're working 3 double crochet into the chain that's directly beneath the 3 double crochet together on the other side. So we're pinching the top of our foundation chain together in the middle, and we're expanding the bottom of our foundation chain in the middle, so that we get that heart shape going. And you can sort of start to see that happening. We're going to work a double crochet into the underside of the next 4 chains. So you should have 4 chains left to work. And that will bring you up to the chain 2 that is snuggled up against those first 2 double crochets. So if you pull up on that a little bit, you'll see those 2 double crochet that were worked into the 3rd chain from the hook where we started. This little thing, just ignore it. You want to find the top of the chain 2, slip your hook through it, and join with a slip stitch. That is row 1. You might find it's a little wanting to curl a bit. Don't worry about it. You can pull it out if you want, stretch out some of those stitches, and you will definitely see a gentle little heart shape forming. For row 2, we're going to start right where we joined, and we're going to chain 2. This chain 2 is going to count as a double crochet, and if you pull up on it, you can see where you joined the last row. Right into that space, you're going to work a double crochet. That is the next stitch you're working, so don't be confused. It might look a little funny. One side might be a bit pulled, but that's the next stitch. You're going to work 2 double crochet right into that stitch. And 2 double crochet into the next stitch. So we've rounded the first curve of our heart here. We're going to half double crochet, so half double crochet into the next stitch. Oops. There we go. Single crochet into the next stitch. And now we're going to single crochet 3 stitches together across those middle 3 stitches. So you insert your hook, pick up a loop in the first stitch, insert your hook, pick up a loop in the next stitch, and insert your hook, pick up a loop in the last or 3rd stitch. You'll have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull back through everything, and that will continue to pinch the inside top of our heart together. We're going to single crochet into the next stitch, half double crochet into the next stitch, and now we want to round that curve. We're going to work 2 double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. So 2 double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. All right. We're going to double crochet once into each of the next 4 stitches. So now we're working back down the bottom side of our heart. And that, after 4 double crochet, should bring us down to the very bottom point, the bottom middle stitch. So if you pull apart those stitches, you should see the 3 double crochet you worked into the middle bottom of your heart from the previous row. And this stitch, the very bottom point, we're going to work 3 double crochet into that. So we're continuing to expand the bottom of our heart. 3 double crochet all into that very bottom middle stitch. We're going to work a double crochet into each of the next 4 stitches. And we want to finish by working 2 double crochet into that last stitch. And I know it looks like there's 2 stitches left, but when you work in the round, as we're doing, you always end up with something called a false stitch. And that's this little guy right here. He sort of sits at the bottom of the chains. Sometimes we use him, sometimes we don't. For this pattern, we're just going to skip it. We're going to join to the top of that chain 2 that began the row. And you might have a little bit of bubbling and wiggling. That's all right. That's it for the heart color. You can snip your yarn, fasten off, and take a moment to lay your heart down and just pull out some of those important points. So pull out the bottom, maybe sort of gently stretch out the 2 sides. Use the heat of your hand to flatten it a bit. There we go. Take a moment to weave in that little tail, and now we're going to add a border. So I'm going to take my border color. In this case, I'm using white. We're going to make a slip knot. Pick up your heart, turn it upside down, find that bottom middle point. So if it helps, there's the 3 double crochet that you work together into that bottom point. So the middle stitch is what you want. Very bottom middle, you're going to join with a slip stitch. We're going to chain 1. This chain 1 doesn't count as anything. It's just sort of a little way of bringing our stitches up a bit. And into that same stitch that we joined, we're going to work 3 half double crochet. So we're going to use half double crochet for most of the border. And once again, you can work over top of your short tail or weave it in later. 3 half double crochet into that very bottom middle stitch. We're going to half double crochet into each of the next 7 stitches. So that's a half double crochet into 7 stitches. That brings us up to where we knotted off our last row. So this little area might look a little confusing, which is why we're going through it 1 stitch at a time. Here's the next real stitch. Here's where we fastened off. It might look a little funny or messy. This is what we're going to do. We're going to work 2 half double crochet into the top of that join. You can use a piece of it. You can use the top of the stitch. You can just grab your hook and stuff it through. Whatever part of that little area looks like it makes sense and is sturdy. You want to work 2 half double crochet in there. And then the next stitch sometimes looks pulled, but it's the next normal stitch. You're going to work 2 half double crochet into that stitch. And that gets us over top of that little awkward join. And now you're going to work 2 half double crochet into each of the next 5 stitches. So we're really expanding that nice round shape around the edge of our heart. All right, that's 2 half double crochet into 7 stitches in a row. So we worked 3 half double crochet into the first stitch, worked a half double crochet into the next 7 stitches, worked 2 half double crochet into the next 7 stitches, and now we're going to work 3 single crochet together. So single crochet the next 3 stitches together, pick up a loop in the first stitch, pick up a loop in the next stitch, pick up a loop in the third stitch, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull back through everything. That keeps that nice little pinch going in the middle of our heart. You're going to work 2 half double crochet into each of the next 7 stitches. So 2 half double crochet into each of the next 7 stitches. That's going to take us around the second bend in our heart. Make sure you've done it 7 times. I got one more to do here. All right, so that's 2 half double crochet into 7 stitches in a row. We're going to half double crochet into the next 7 stitches. So just 1 half double crochet into each of the next 7 stitches. And that should bring you right back up to where you started. You're going to find the first half double crochet mates. Remember, we're just ignoring that chain that we started with. And you're just going to join with a slip stitch to the top of that half double crochet. That's it. If you're going to use this as an applique, leave yourself a nice long tail so that you can sew it down. Or if you're using it as a coaster, or you've got other plans for it, you can just snip your yarn as normal, fasten off, and then take a moment to weave that little tail in across the back of some of those white stitches. Any direction you want. You can take a moment to lay it flat, pull out the bottom point, gently spread those side pieces. If you're sewing this down onto something, you can lay it down, pin it into place, and sew it, and it'll keep its nice little heart shape. If you're using it as a coaster, cotton is pretty great, pretty flexible, pretty forgiving. So once you sort of lay it flat and start using it, it won't curl up on you. And there you go, a sweet little heart. It doesn't take up much time or yarn, and it's another nice heart-shaped pattern that you can add to your repertoire. I find I end up looking for heart shapes quite a bit, and I like being able to just stitch them onto other projects. So there you go. We hope you had fun making this along with us today, and we will see you soon here on the Jayda InStitches show. Until then, stay safe, stay crafty, and have an awesome week, everybody. Bye!
Hi everybody, Mr. InStitches here. Thank you for watching today. Here are some of our other videos you might be interested in. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.